Hello everyone and welcome, my name is Bailey, also known as CringeMcCringle, but I'm sure you knew that by now. How is everybody doing today? Good, I hope. I know I'm doing good, and that's because we hit 500 subscribers last week. Now, we hit this, like I said, last Wednesday, and a video came out. I didn't have enough time to say anything in that video to edit something together, so here I am. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far, and last week we hit 500 and we're already almost at 600 somehow, so I guess I'm doing something right. I have been working a lot recently to get videos out to you guys consistently weekly, and so doing so I've had a bit of a schedule. Today though, we're diverting from that because I got something in the mail that I really wanted to talk about. Roughly a year ago, I made a video on the Transformers Studio Series Autobot Multipack, and as you can see, that video did way better than any of my other ones, so thanks to everybody who watched. But it's a year later, and well, we have the Decepticon version now. Now, first and foremost, I would like to say that I predicted who was going to be in this set. Insert footage now. Another one next year? Hopefully with some Decepticons. My guesses would be The Fallen, Megatron, Starscream, maybe Soundwave. So yeah, we didn't get Starscream, but I guessed the other three correctly, so I'll take it. I'm not entirely sure who the Dark of the Moon Autobots be, but let's shoot for Sentinel Prime, Dino. I would say maybe the Wreckers, but Leadfoot being a Target exclusive is going to make it a bit tough. Maybe Dark of the Moon Ratchet, because he's like $100 now. Anyways, let's talk about this set because it is right in front of me at the moment. So this set is a re-release of The Fallen, who is pretty easy to find in stores, Battle Damage Megatron, who actually goes for quite a bit now, and Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave, who was a straight-to-clearance item. This set serves more as a celebration pack, and it's actually kind of reminiscent of the Gathering at the Nemesis set, which hopefully I can get at TFCon next weekend. Before I talk about the figures, let's go over this box art. It is gorgeous. I love it. It's easily the best looking box out of the 4 sets that we've gotten. Way better than the CG renders, and I really wish we could have gotten this from the start. I really want to get a print of this and frame it in my room. It is that good. Opening up the box, we have the figures inside, and no more display, unfortunately. Wish they would have kept that for the special releases of Studio Series, but I guess I'll have to live without it. Now let's take the figures out of the packaging. First off, we have to talk about The Fallen. This is his movie, at least in the title it is, and he's the big bad. This figure is astoundingly cool in robot mode. This is the most unique design in all of Transformers in my opinion, and the Hasbro Takara team did one hell of a job with this figure. The head sculpt is bizarrely beautiful, especially since it has been hit with this beautiful blue on those face spikes. He looks like such an evil dude, and I can hear Tony Todd's voice coming through this figure. The face is also hit with silver, and in a move that completely shocked me, he has light piping. In this era of figures, hell yeah. And if you thought that was it for the face, well, you're wrong. Like the Hunt for the Decepticons version, this figure has a removable face that reveals this little gremlin beneath, which also has some light piping as well, and a movable jaw to replicate him screaming in pain. Since this is such a lean and limber guy, the Fallen is able to hit quite a number of dynamic and good-looking poses. Add his staff and you can get a few more pictures out of him. The only downside of this mode is the arm-to-back protrusion things. They like to pop out if you hit them right or extend the arms too far. A minor nitpick, I know, but I just wish that they tabbed in a little bit more securely at the ball joint. Now onto his spaceship, flight, alien thing mode. Yeah, that. It surely is a thing that exists and looks like a thing. You may be asking right now, Cringe, why don't you have a picture of him in his alt mode? That's because the instructions are so hard to read, I couldn't figure it out, so I just gave up before I threw him against the wall. I don't even know. I give up. On to Megatron. This is the battle damage version of him to represent the final fight with Optimus, where he gets his face blown up. Aw, how sweet. And since we're on the topic of Meg's face, this is the damage sculpt, where he's missing a good chunk of it. Way to kick the guy when he's down. Hey, at least they gave him some dry brushing though to help make him feel a little bit better. The silver paint is much nicer on this figure than the molded gray blech of the original. Megatron is also hit with black and bronze highlights throughout to really sell that damaged look. The left hand has strangely been painted in brown, but whatever, I don't mind. This repaint of Revenge of the Fallen Megatron is far superior to that of the original SS-13 release that came out in 2017. Damn, that was almost 10 years ago. And why do I get the feeling that this is going to be the last release of this mold before we get a new one? Because Hasbro's always redoing things.
My only real complaint about this mode is that he's a little difficult to stand properly, and these pieces behind the legs like to pop off very easily. Tank mode is a cool design, and it's interesting to see how he looks all damaged up in this mode. Almost every time we see this tank, it's all silver and clean, but not this version. A good amount of the silver has been remolded in black plastic to give it a dirtier, grittier look than the standard version. Also, the dry brushing looks excellent in this mode. So much of the detail that originally was lost on this figure comes out quite well now that there is paint to help show it off. And then there is Soundwave. I don't care for this figure.
Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Soundwave Superior. Studio Series Soundwave Inferior.
So why don't I like this mold? Well, it's not as good as the original. It poses better, yes, but it doesn't quite hit the same for me. In my opinion, this is the Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave design, not this. And the only reason I say that is because this design was all over the concept art, the toys, the video game DLC even, all of which can now be included into Studio Series under new sublines. The figure itself isn't bad, it's just fine. It's got a good amount of paint. I love that there's quite a decent amount of silver. The black dots all over the chest are a weird choice, however. He's posable, especially for a Studio Series Bayverse figure. The head sculpt is quite nice. Love the striking red color for the visor, but other than that, there isn't much to love here. It's clear that this isn't a figure they were putting a lot of effort to, unfortunately. I mean, there's Mercedes-Benz kibble on the legs, so I wonder where that molding comes from.
Obviously, this figure would have been much better if they started with a whole new tooling, but considering that this came out of the pandemic era, I can cut it some slack. I imagine, though, that at some point in the near future, we will get a better version of this design.
And then we get to Satellite mode, which, like the Fallen, is surely something. It doesn't 100% look like the Satellite mode we see in the movie, but I can see the inspiration at least. This figure doesn't tab in for shit, though. My initial script before I opened up the box was more positive for this mode, but holding it in hand has me quite annoyed. Everything keeps untabbing, the instructions were unclear, it's just a little bit of a mess. The only saving grace for this mode is that Soundwave comes with a little stand to keep him floating for your display.
So, in the end, this set is quite a mixed bag. It's great that it was... I dropped the box. It's great that the set was released and that people who missed out on characters like The Fallen, Megatron, and Soundwave get another chance to get them. But all of these figures have some sort of glaring issue. The Fallen doesn't have a real alt mode, and the instructions are so confusing that I just gave up on trying to figure it out. Megatron is a fiddly mess with loose joints and parts, and he never really wants to stand anyway. Soundwave is the most well put together toy, but he's just so mediocre that he kind of just leaves me feeling empty and wanting more. I hate to say it, but out of the Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series figures, these three molds are probably, for me, towards the bottom of the list. But I will wrap the video up there, and most importantly, I will see you all next week, and I will see you all at TFCon Chicago. Take care.